Hello there, kia ora. Has Christopher Luxon actually done something politically savvy for once, or just made a bad, desperate looking situation even worse? I mean, personally, I'm inclined to think he's made it worse, but you know what? I might be wrong. Time will tell. You see, it was revealed yesterday that David Seymour's Treaty Principles Bill, a bill the Justice Department noted yesterday wasn't grounded in reality and has serious potential to undermine social cohesion in the country, would be in the Select Committee process until May, a 6-month long process, and the expected volume of responses is so large that the government's going to need to hire contractors to sift through them all. Now, there are a number of tools that the government could use to get this bill out of the way forever. After all, we do keep hearing that National and New Zealand First won't be supporting it, making it a massive waste of time and money, being instigated from a party that seems to be really keen on saving costs and cutting regulation. But we also heard that there were charts showing Te Whatu Ora was blowing out budgets that didn't exist, or that the government had been working for months to fund those cancer meds that they promised, after it turned out the finance minister had ghosted the health minister on the topic until the day after the budget came out and they started getting pushback from the public. First, they could have refused to go ahead with this, but they keep saying that they are determined to honour the coalition agreement, to undermine the agreement that was made before they were born that founded the country. But since they refuse to grow a spine, they will see it tabled in Parliament probably late November. Now, you may recall early in this term, this government used urgency more than any other government ever has. And on that rare occasion that they actually sent things to the Select Committee process, they limited the number of days submissions would be taken and the number of hearings that they'd hold. If they really wanted to get this out of the way quickly so the hangover of it doesn't follow them into the next election, well, they could have done that here, but instead they're giving it an extended time in that process. Race relations experts have raised concerns about how this lengthy process will mean 6 months of stirred up racism and active disinformation campaigns from astroturfing groups like we saw over Three Waters, and going into the period when local councils are expecting stirred up racism and active disinformation campaigns from AstroTurf groups in the lead up to their local body elections next year is actually a really real threat, meaning that we get almost an entire year of racism spouting bullshit from all the worst people in the country directly created by this government's actions. But, and it's a tiny slither of a but, that could backfire. You remember those astroturfing groups that I literally just mentioned, and Three Waters, which I also literally just mentioned? Well, one of the resources that they had that allowed them to spread disinformation so effectively was time. Three Waters was a slow process, which gave their campaigns the time to stir up and hook them in. Part of those campaigns was to vilify then Minister of Local Government Nanaia Mahuta, providing a big bad villain figure. What the opposition parties and like-minded groups have now is a time frame and a goal. 7 months to build a campaign, to get control of the narrative, and a built-in bad guy in David Seymour, the man who is driving this process, the man who struggles to connect with the majority of voters, the man whose party only just passed 8% of the vote count. Taking lessons from those active disinformation campaigns could be a way to turn the tide on the racist division and foment that experts are concerned about. Now, this is possibly what the Prime Minister was thinking when agreeing to a time frame that a policy he claims to be uneasy with would fall victim to the tactics his party encouraged during the election last year. But that would require a level of political savvy from Mr. We Know Korea for K-pop and TV shows we haven't seen on display before. I suspect it's much more likely he agreed to it hoping that the problem would just go away if he ignored it long enough, or that it was demanded in cabinet by somebody threatening to rip the government apart if he didn't get to have almost a year to follow through on his plans and make a whole bunch of racist noise about it.